Hello, guys. How are you? And welcome to day number 15 of Live Your Authentic Life Challenge. Today, we're going to talk about becoming the man or woman that you were meant to be. So guys, before we get started, today I want to review, I always like to review what we talked about on yesterday. So day number 14 was all about getting rid of time wasters and becoming more productive. So we went over 10 very important strategies to help you gain more time back in your day so that you can reach and accomplish your goals so you can go to that next level. So if you were not able to see yesterday, day number 14, make sure that you register for the challenge at trenesmith.com/authentic, trenesmith.com/authentic, and that challenge will be delivered to you in your email box daily. So let me just introduce myself for those newbies to the challenge and those that I do not know. I am T. Renee Smith, founder of the Authentic Woman's Inner Circle, where we help you to build profitable businesses, raise extraordinary kids, rekindle the fire in your marriage, all while staying true to yourself and to your values. So let's jump right into day number 15, which is talking all about becoming the man or woman that you were meant to be. So guys, I made my notes today because I have some very good key information to give to you today, and I wanted to make sure that I got everything in. So the first thing that we want to do is we're going to talk about 6 different steps to helping you become the man or the woman that you were meant to be. As I always tell you, there's greatness on the inside of you, there's purpose on the inside of you, and when you allow that to get out and when you shine and you walk in what your purpose is, you give others the permission to do the same. So today is all about getting inside of you and making sure that you're walking in your purpose and walking in the becoming the man or woman that you were meant to be. So the first key, or the first thing that you have to do to become the man or woman that you were meant to be, is to understand that it is okay and that you're going to piss people off when you follow your dreams and do what you want to do. Right? So for each one of the sections today, I have a little quote for you. So you are free to choose, but you are not free from the consequences of your choice. You are free to choose, but you're not free from the consequences of your choice. And the reason why this is so important is that many times we want to step out and we want to do things in our life, but we hold back because we're afraid that we're going to upset somebody. We're going to piss somebody off. We're going to leave somebody behind. When you're pursuing the greatness that is inside of you, you're going to have to be okay with leaving people behind. You're going to have to be okay with upsetting people. Because if everybody is happy with you, that means that you're probably doing everything that everybody else wants to do, and you're leaving yourself behind. So you're going to have to be okay with stepping out and doing what it is that you feel that you were called to do. Because a lot of times people have you in this mode. You may be good at doing something, and because you're good at doing something, they're going to keep you in that mode. I actually had one of my clients, she was very, very good. She was a lawyer. She was an attorney. And that's the mode that people had her in. The only problem was she did not like it. She went to law school because that's what her parents wanted her to do. That was the mode that she was in. And for years, probably 10 or 15 years, she suffered on the inside in silence because she was too afraid to step out and pursue what she wanted to do. Eventually, once she did start pursuing what she wanted to do, she started living her life on purpose. She found a purpose and she was walking in it. So key number 1 is you've got to be okay with pissing people off, upsetting people, leaving people behind to become the man or woman that God has called you to be. Number 2, you have to understand, which kind of ties with number 1, you cannot always be who your family, who your friends, who society expects you to be if you are going to live your authentic life. You want to create a life that feels good to you on the inside and not just on the outside. A lot of us have a picture perfect life on the outside. We have the house, the picket fence, the 2 kids, the dog, whatever the case is, that life that people expected us to live. So on the outside, it looks great, but on the inside, it is a hot mess. And so you don't want on the inside your life to be a hot mess. You want it to feel good on the inside and on the outside. Okay, so you got to determine and make some decisions about, I need to decide what my life is going to look like, and then I need to pursue that for me and not always be concerned with what somebody else is saying. And it's so important for you to validate yourself. And I say this often, and I've said it throughout the challenge. Stop looking for people to validate you. Validate yourself. Hey, Christopher, good morning. Because if you live by somebody's approval, you're going to die from their disapproval. And not everybody is going to agree with what you say. Hey, Johnson, how are you? Thank you. So you've got to validate yourself, and you've got to approve yourself and build your own self-esteem, your own self-worth, and your own value. And your value should not be based on anybody's opinion, nor should your value be based on something external, such as a car, a house, the red bottom shoes, or whatever the case is. Okay? So that's step number 2. You cannot be who you were called to be and live your authentic life if you're concerned about your family, your friends, society, what they said, what he said, what she said, okay? What you got to be concerned about is, what do you say about yourself, and what does God or your higher power say about who you are? So that's step number 2. Step number 3. You want to define your own role as a wife, as a husband, as a mother, as a father, as a business owner, or as a professional. You want to define your own role. I know for so long, just for me personally and for a lot of my clients, they define their role as a wife or as a mother based on how they were brought up, what they saw. So let me fit this mold of what somebody else is doing, or let me do what my husband wants me to do. So it took me a while to just kind of figure out and get into my own womanhood. Like, I had all these beliefs of how I grew up and what happens, your business that happens in the family, it stays in the family. And that's why so many of us are in bondage now, because we're not talking about it. Or a good wife does this, or a good husband, does this. So you got to define your own role as a spouse, as a parent, as a business owner, or as a professional. So every story has an end, but in life, every ending is a new beginning. So there's some chapters in our life that we need to close. We need to close the perceptions, the expectations that other people have for us if it does not line up with what we want. And then we need to open up a new chapter that is going to be the roles that we define for ourselves. So stop taking on what somebody else wants from you, expects from you, if it does not line up with the roles that you have defined for yourself. Okay? So step number 4. You want to make peace with your past, and you want to live in your present. Thank you so much, Johnson. He's talking about the value is based on the person that is in the mirror that you see. So your value absolutely is based on you and who you are and who you say that you are, not what everybody else or who everybody says that you are. So it doesn't matter what somebody else says about you. It matters what you answer to and what you say about yourself. So number 4 was to make peace with your past and stop holding yourself hostage. And one of the biggest things is that you have to forgive. And that means forgiving yourself as well as forgiving others. And a lot of times in the forgiveness process, we actually have to grieve. And we have to grieve the life that we no longer have, the relationship that we no longer have. So a lot of times people think that grieving is just about when you lose someone to death. It could be when you lose someone in your life. It could be when you lose a particular financial status, whatever the case is. And the process of grieving is you're going to, number 1, you're going to be in denial. This did not happen. Let's just say you had this wonderful job at this wonderful business, and it did not succeed. It failed. So now you have to go through that process of grieving. Same thing with the relationship. So when you grieve, you're going to be in denial. Then you're going to be in anger. Then you're going to bargain. Then you're going to be depressed. Then you're going to finally accept it. So I want you to look at which area in your life do you need to grieve. It happened in the past. It is no longer there. It's over. It's done with. The reality is what it is. So forgive yourself, forgive others, and then don't hold yourself to the past. Be honest and truthful to yourself and ask, number 1, forgiveness for yourself, and relinquish and move forward. That's advice from Johnson. That is absolutely correct. So just remember, what has happened in the past has happened in the past. You'll never be able to change what happened. It is what it is. Do not get stuck there. Move forward. I remember I've had more probably failures in my businesses than I've had successes. My first business, I filed bankruptcy. I could have stayed stuck there, but I redefined the way that I looked at failure. I redefined the way that I looked at fear. Okay. And so the step number 5 is, and then we have one more after this, is you have to learn how to overcome fear. Fear. Are you going to face everything and rise? Right? Are you going to understand that fear is false evidence appearing real? Because most of the time, the things that we fear will never, ever, ever happen to us in our life. One exercise that I have my clients to do is when they are fearful, ask themselves why. 5 times. Why am I afraid? Why am I afraid? Why am I afraid? By the time they get down to the 5th why and they've answered it, they realize that what they're fearing will probably never happen, and then it helps them to be able to walk into what they were doing. So when I was brought up as a child, I was told, well, you can't have fear and faith. You can't do that. But what I understand is that one is always going to be more dominant, fear or faith. But whenever you're doing something new, whenever you're stretching yourself, whenever you're going to that next level, there is going to be fear, and there's always going to be failure. And what you do is you just fail forward and you never give up, because failure is a part of success, right? So let me talk to you about 4 quick reasons why we fear and what you can do to overcome fear. Guys, I want you to comment in the section and you tell me, what is it that you do to overcome fear? Like Johnson, that was his statement about fear and failure is a part of success and just never give up. So comment and tell me, what do you do to overcome fear? So here are 4 things. And my quote for fear is that you have to desire success more than you are afraid of failure or fear, right? Because it's a part of it. So 4 things to help you overcome fear. Well, first, let me define it. Fear occurs as a response to something which is perceived as being threatening, scary, dangerous, or harmful. Like fear of danger, fear of rejection, fear of judgment, fear of loss of money, fear of loss of relationship. So many of us are operating our life in fear. Like in relationships, we're not opening up. We're not being vulnerable because we're fearful that they're going to, leave us, that they're going to judge us, that they're not going to treat us right. So when you hear the definition of fear, this is all mostly about what we think is going to happen, right? We don't even know that it's going to happen. We're just standing in fear that it's going to happen. So 4 reasons why we fear are: number 1, is a sign that danger is ahead, either emotionally or physically. So fear is actually a good emotion because it kind of triggers you and it lets you know, hey, is this something that I need to pay close attention to? Have you met people before and it was just something about them, their vibe, it was something in their gut that was like, yeah, I don't know about that. I don't really trust that. Or have you been walking somewhere? Maybe it was, at night or driving, and that Holy Spirit, that gut in you told you, hey, go this way, go this way. So fear, it is an emotion that you need to tap into to understand and make sure that you're not walking in danger, whether it's in a relationship with person, if it's physical danger, etc. Number 2 is lack of clarity. So a lot of us have fear because we're all over the place. We're on this treadmill of life where we're, moving fast, but we're going nowhere. We have no clarity. We don't know what our priorities are. We don't know what strategy we need to be implementing, what we should be doing. So we have a lack of clarity. So one thing that overcomes fear is when you get crystal clear on what it is that you need to do. The 3rd thing is lack of information, and it goes hand in hand with clarity. Most of us are not clear because we do not have information. I know one thing with my clients that are working in corporate that want to transition into entrepreneurship or small business ownership is this fear over them because they want to do it, but they don't know what to do. They don't know how to do it. And they try to go from 0 to 100. You don't have to go from 0 to 100. Go from 0 to 2, 0 to 5. Instead of waking up one morning and say, hey, I'm going to do this entrepreneurship thing. I'm going to go and I'm going to do it. I'm going to quit my job. You have no money in savings. You have no clients. No. Give yourself 1, 2, 3 year plan, whatever it is that you need. Get the information that you need. Get a clear plan, a clear strategy, and then implement it. So one reason why we fear is because we don't have information. So get information, get clear, and understand what you need. And then the last thing is, which we already talked about, is a lot of times we're fearing because we're looking into our past about what has happened, and we fear the same thing is going to happen. For men, if we've been in a relationship or we've been in a marriage and we gave our all, or you gave your all to a woman, and then she ended up hurting you, cheating on you, telling you you're not a man, or whatever the case is, now you have fear. So when you meet this other person who is totally not like the woman that you just got out of a relationship with or divorced, and she's genuinely there for you, You have a fear of opening up your heart, opening up yourself to her because you think she's going to do the same thing. Men, am I telling the truth? Same thing for women. If you've been in a relationship and the man hasn't treated you exactly like you felt like you needed to be treated, you carry that weight into your new relationship and you're just waiting for the shoe to drop. He's treating you nice. He's treating you right. He's a good man, but you like, when is he going to do this? I bet he's going to do this. And now you have all your girlfriends talking to you. He ain't no good, and that because they've gone through their own experiences, right? And so now you fear that exactly the same thing is going to happen. Or in business, if you or corporate, if you've gone in and you've negotiated and you wanted a higher salary, and the particular boss that you were working with at the time told you no, now you may fear and not want to do it again because you think he's going to tell you no. Or a client, you may have gone out and pursued a client, it didn't work out like it did, and now you're letting that hold you hostage. So in overcoming fear, you've got to leave the past in the past, stop letting it hold you hostage, and to move forth. And then the final tip, number 6, of helping you to become the man or the woman that you want to be. Well, hold on, let me see what Johnson said. I personally just face it, deal through it, and find someone to give me input, either that's been through it or has more knowledge than me. That's exactly right. So when you're finding more information and you're finding clarity, that's what helps you overcome that fear. Hey, Yolandra. So the final step, number 6, in helping you to become the man or the woman that you want to be, is to put your big girl panties or your big boy boxers on and stand in your own truth. For so many times we're blaming other people. It's the man. It's my husband. It's my wife. It's my kids. It's my mother. It's my father. It's me not having a father. It was the way that I was brought up. My mother abandoned me. I went through all of this trauma. And absolutely you did. And it's very realistic as to what happened. But at some point in your life, you have to make a decision. Is life going to happen to you? Or are you going to happen to life? And if we stay in a mode of being a victim, regardless of how tragic the situation is, we'll never be able to be victorious over our situation, because you cannot be a victim and be victorious at the same time. You can only be one, so you have to decide which one it's going to be. And for a lot of people, we're ashamed maybe about things that have happened to us in our past. We don't want to deal with them. We don't want to address them outwardly, so it keeps showing up in our life, in situations, in the people that we attract. So when I say put your big girl panties on or your big boy boxers on, it simply means that whatever it is that you need to do in your life to move to that next level, then you want to do it. That could be going to counseling. It could be hiring a coach. It could be studying. It could be learning more. It could be forgiving. Whatever the case is, put yourself back on your to-do list. So many of us are solving everybody else's problems. We're helping everybody else. We're the answer to everybody else's, problems or issues. And we're neglecting ourselves, right? So Christopher says, pray on everything and ask God to prepare you for what you're asking for. Then apply your faith. Absolutely. And as you guys know, a couple days ago, we talked about developing your spiritual practice, because the foundation of faith, the foundation of having a spiritual connection is so important in helping you become the man or woman that you need to be and to walking into faith. So you have to, yes, pray about everything. Have a spiritual practice and surround yourself with people that are going to build you up and not tear you down. So in this process, you've got to make sure that you don't have toxic relationships in your life, right? Because whoever you surround yourself by, whoever is influencing you, whoever you're listening to the most, or whatever you're seeing or whatever you're saying, that is what you're going to have in your life. So whatever it is that you need to get to that next level, make sure that you start doing it in your life, because it is your time. It is your time. And I'm so passionate about it, because when I tell you, I talk to hundreds and hundreds of people and small business owners and corporate leaders that on the outside, everything looks great. But on the inside, they're so afraid of being judged. They're always having to have it together that they don't have an outlet where they can sincerely just talk about what they're going through without being judged and without somebody wanting something from them. They're normally the smartest person in the circle. They're normally the ones that have made it in their life, and everybody comes to them and leans on them. But in this challenge and living your authentic life. It's about you living your authentic life. You saying yes to yourself. You saying, I'm worthy, I'm valuable. What I do for other people, I am going to do for me. So today, day number 15, we went over tips and strategies to help you to walk in your purpose and be the man or woman that God has called you to be. So thank you so much, Christopher and Johnson and Trisha. Y'all have been on fire with your comments. Thank you so much. I appreciate them. I read them, and your comments help people that are watching the challenge. So your assignment today is to go back and look at the 6 areas that we talked about and figure out which one of those you need to make some changes to in your life. And then when you figure out what those changes are, apply them in your life. It's not just about hearing the information and getting motivated and getting excited. It's about applying it in your life so that you can see a change in your life. So thank y'all so much for the hearts. Thank you for the thumbs up. I appreciate it. I comment, I share to you out of my heart because I want to see you living an abundant life. Because as I tell you, and like I said at the beginning, there is greatness on the inside of you waiting to just get out. And so when you confidently and boldly walk in what you are called to do, you give other people the permission to do the same. So guys, this is day number 15 of 21 days to live your authentic life. If you've not registered for the challenge, you can register at trenesmith.com/authentic. trenesmith.com/authentic. And I am signing off. I will see you right back here tomorrow. And I am T. Renee Smith, founder of the Authentic Woman's Inner Circle, where we teach you how to build profitable businesses, raise extraordinary kids, rekindle that fire in your marriage, all while staying true to yourself and to your values. Guys, thank you for your participation. I appreciate it. And I'll see you right back here tomorrow. Bye-bye.